And guess
Already we
what
got
day it
some
is?
going.
Guess what time it is?
It's
I,
finally Monday, pirate broadcast.
it's time for the pirate broadcast. And we are here and we are going to share interesting things, have interesting conversations with people doing amazing things. And today we have in the room live Wendy. Thank you so much for being here
The honor's
in the
all
cold
mine.
Great White North, Minnesota.
Seriously, so white. I mean, in a lot of ways, but so white. We got a nice plowing of like maybe 6-8 inches Saturday night, Sunday morning, and so everything is just picturesque and beautiful and crisp. And by a February snow, it's not going to be here forever. A November snow, you're like, wow, we're stuck with this for the long haul.
Oh,
No, we're on the downhill slide. It's all good.
Awesome.
Good morning, Russ.
Good morning, and thank you so much for being here. All the gratitude in the world. I want to make sure that everybody understands that, we're here for a reason. It's not very long, and we really need to be able to extend our gifts and share our gifts with other people and make sure that people have an opportunity to understand, hey, this is something that if you're interested in doing something, maybe a writer, doing film, creating a podcast, broadcasting, doing what you want to do, this will trigger some ideas that possibility you might have an interest in, and you can actually do things like this as well. So,
well, we were just speaking about the fact that both of us had the experience. In the 7 minutes we've actually got to hang out already, which is great, like life-changing. And about the fact that we both dedicated a lot of time to taking care of our older parents. And we just both came to the conclusion that you only get one chance to do that. Like, you don't get a do-over.
No.
Life, there are no do-overs. You either do it now or you regret it later. So this is our chance to just talk about how just get out there and do it. Got a story to tell? Tell the story.
Well, and I know that that's something that has been a thread throughout your life is just going out and doing. You're an author, speaker, and you've done film. Let's talk about your IMDb history and some of the things that you've done. So
that's interesting. It's so funny because it's so IMDb, Internet Movie Database, and a lot of people who are not in the film world or don't know of it. And so it's
another common goal we have.
It's my less than personal LinkedIn. So it's just what projects that I've done and where what awards they've won, et cetera. And it's so it lacks all of the, isn't that funny? The Hollywood component lacks all of the emotion that LinkedIn has emerged to have, which is great. So, excuse me. So, 2007, someone approached me with a script. I really only have 3 skills in the whole wide world, and I'm not being self-effacing. I really only have 3. I can write, I can tell a good story, and I am blessed to collect amazing people who do the rest of the stuff. That's it. Like, I have these big ideas of a 10,000 foot gal, and then let's get a team together and do it. I'm such a middle child, right? So someone handed me a script, and I have an English literature degree, and my parents owned a theater, and I have a long theater history, and I said, it's interesting. And they said, well, would you consider executive producing this? And I had to go to the Google and look up what executive producers do. And coincidentally, executive producers do what Jewish moms do. They take people and projects and get them out the door. And I'm a Jewish mom, so I was like, well, this is made for me. Quick little thing, I'm just going to do this for the summer. I said to my husband, I've got a short film, and it's interesting, and then I'll find a house, and we'll get it's like an old Mickey Rooney movie, I'll get the barn and we'll do a show. I'm like, yeah, we can figure this out.
Yeah.
So did that, and then that got
one thing led to another.
And one thing, and it was like only if I was attached, and then it was like, oh, here's another, and then I produced a couple of films in Iowa, feature films in Iowa. And because Iowa had enacted the most generous legislatively, had enacted this piece that they were going to subsidize films because they saw the incredible economic development benefit from Bridges in Madison County. When you bring 100 people into town,
Right.
into a small town, and you're going to the hardware stores and the liquor stores and the dentists and
The
I mean, I've had everything. You see this huge boom, like, oh, why don't we do that? So they did that. The program collapsed. Got in a lot of legal trouble because they owed me the most money. Spent some quality time in a women's maximum security prison because if all time is quality time. So at the end of the day, even though I did what the state officials said for me to do, they told me I wasn't supposed to listen to him. And then later he was convicted of misdirecting me. But as the world works in strange ways. And so, and I always come up front with this. I talk about this all the time. People are like, oh my gosh, we got a speaker. She's the prison chick. Well, yeah, I'm not the, oh, look at that. So, but I speak about it because it was an extraordinary experience.
Yeah.
We just spoke about my mother, God bless her, put this idea in my head that I'm never uncomfortable anywhere. So I can go to an Oscar party or I can go to prison. I prefer to go to an Oscar party, but I'm just saying I can go to.
I know which one I'd rather be at.
Right. One of them, the shoes are way more comfortable, by the way. Just saying. So
and the food is much different.
Oh, I'm sure. So the big picture is like we follow a path, and you have to just bravely follow a path. And at the end of 6 months of I had a 10-year sentence. 0 restitution, which meant I didn't really commit a crime, but they wanted to invalidate the $84 million they owed me. So the state. So after 6 months, but the chief judge took it away from the judge who'd handle it. And he called me into court and he said, I don't know why you're here at all. Like took me out of prison in shackles and walked me into the courtroom and said, I don't know why you're here at all. You're going home today. Like, well, how much restitution do you owe? And I said, with all due respect, $0 of restitution. And he said, then you're going home today. This is ridiculous. And he sent me home. And then then you have to start over. And that's, I think, the key is like, okay, well, like I followed this path because I was just on this conveyor belt and there was nothing I could do.
Yeah.
To this day, I've never been questioned. They never asked me what happened. They never deposed me. They didn't care. They're like, this is what it is, and we're just going to slap her with this. Okay, so you go on this conveyor belt.
Sometimes you take advice from the wrong people.
Unfortunately, sometimes they're in the state capitol, but it happens. So, by the way, he was convicted of misdirecting me by a jury, and that gentleman received a 10-year sentence for following his directive, and he got a $750 fine. Go figure. So it is what it is, and then you have to rebuild. And I had developed a fantastic relationship with a business mentor who said to me, I don't care how long you're inside, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. When you're done, when you're released, come back to me, and I'll get you through it. And that light he kept on for me so that I knew that I was going to be okay. Like I knew that he knew how to pull me out. So I get home and about 10 days later, like the adrenaline of being suddenly released from prison, just like, psh, and then I held my phone in my hand. It took me an hour to get up the strength to call anybody. And I called him and I just said 6 words. I said, I don't know what to do. And he said, I do. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, coffee. Well, we're gonna start the work. And he said, this is what we got to do. Yeah. So his forward modus operandi, his name is Mark Cohen, and his forward modus operandi is, so what, now what? So what, that happened to us, now what are we going to do? Yeah. And because of that, we named our production company Now What Studios, because it was really...
I love that.
Yep.
Well, that's the same way I started Next Step Next. What's the next step? What are we going to do next?
What is it? Sometimes that next step leads to everything. Like that's the next step, but finding the courage, that hour that it takes to muster up the courage to make that phone call to someone that you know will be able to help you seems at that moment to be the most difficult thing. 15 seconds later, oh my gosh, that was the best thing I ever did.
Well, we get stuck. We get stuck in leaning into the next thing, taking action. Right. And a lot of times, it's only the ability for us to lean forward, take the next step, where we find and release what we need to release and
Right.
get moving.
Which is because really you can't take the next step if you're still holding on to the last one. You just can't do it. So that's the key. And I love that analogy of the leaning in, because why are we leaning? Because we're still stuck to what happened before.
Yeah.
So we just have to say at some point in time, I'm going to let go. And that is
So
a
what?
crazy thing, because you know, what if you fall? But what if you fly?
Yeah.
What if you fly? And what if you fall? Are you really going to get hurt? You pick yourself up and you go again. So that's a key element. So I, from there, went to, I was looking to executive produce a faith-based musical, rock opera, which I thought was really cool. And then that didn't come together. And the very night that didn't come together, my producing partner, who went on at that time to do The Meg, which did like $535 million worldwide, fantastic man, a great mentor and a great friend. He said, this is not going to work. We have to step out. And I called a Lyft in Los Angeles. And I'm like, wow, like I got nothing. And I, you know, what's my next step? And I get
You're
into
looking
a
at
Lyft.
crickets.
Oh, yeah, everywhere. You're like, wow, it's 10:30 at night. I'm in Los Angeles. Wow, what am I going to do? And my Lyft driver is, at that moment, is now my producing partner.
What?
Serious.
No
I know,
way.
Lyft should buy that. Sorry, I promise. Lyft drivers everywhere. I was so impressed with the way he spoke. I never saw his face. So this is really kind of a key element. I never saw his face except for the app, which is not exactly the best photo ever, right?
No.
But I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter to me. So, but his voice and the way he uses words, my kids always say to me, my youngest is far smarter than I'll ever be. And she said, Mommy, does he shine? And he just shined like there was a thing. And so, he said, I'm in Los Angeles, I'm writing a screenplay, and I like the story you've heard 100 times, 1,000 times, came to live with some buddies, and I'm kind of thing. And I simply said, you know, you need to do this, and I know people here in Los Angeles who would help you if you want to have help, and if you want to, and he said, yeah, I'm looking for someone who's going to help guide. Totally, he had an agenda.
Yeah.
And so, which was great. And so I gave him my contact card, and I said, you know, be in touch. And I remember thinking when I got out of the Lyft, if I offer to help this one, like I mentored a lot of millennials, but if I offer to help this one, I better pull it all the way through. Like I really better do it, pull out all the stops.
Execute.
Sure.
Exceptionally.
Execute.
Yeah.
Exactly. And sure enough, I hope that I have facilitated that, because I was a few months later that we had really corresponded extensively, and I was coming back to LA to do a keynote address, and he said, I'll pick you up at the airport. It's cool because he's a Lyft driver. And but my youngest said to me at the time, she said, Mommy, you know, you're spending a lot more time mentoring, you know, Noah than you do the rest of your strays. That's what she calls them, Mommy strays. She said, you should Google him and see if he's a serial killer. And I was like, Google has that? Cool. So I Google him. I never bought, 2 months in, I'd never really done the search.
Yeah.
And I found this modeling portfolio that was outstanding, and like GQ, and he like really high end. And that was him. And I said, I texted him, I was like, we have FaceTime? He's like, yeah, that'd be great, 10 o'clock. And then poof, it was the opposite of catfish. It was that face. I mean, it was that like $1 million, whatever, face, not, you know, whatever face, $1 million, I think. And then I was like, is this you? And I held my phone to the laptop, and he said, didn't I mention? I was discovered at 14. I've been modeling for 9 years, high fashion model, but I want to be behind the camera. And I said, I think we should go into business and produce your films. But I had said that to him before, and I reiterated it.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm so glad I loved your soul before I saw your face, because you have an incredible soul, and I could partner with that soul, and we could make something really work. And that's it.
And that's the end. That's the rest of the story, huh?
The rest of the story is so far. So yeah, so far.
The beginning. That's the beginning.
You're right. I told you I only have 3 skills. I'm not being. I mean, I can do things like I can parallel park, and I can make chicken soup, but it's not like those are not like skills that you put on, you know, LinkedIn. Oh, I make chicken soup. Duh. But you know, unless you're sick.
I can parallel park and make chicken soup.
That's really much it. That's really, that's it. And both things always amaze people. How do you do that? I can't
Address a
multitask.
wonderful hot dog.
Oh, like a pro.
I want to take a moment here because this is important. Carol is here. She said she would be interested in seeing the inside of a woman's prison. Probably not from
tours would be cool. I didn't
cool.
have the privilege of a tour.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, I guess I did. I had a tour of duty.
Yes.
But
Marine, thank you so much. Resilience, yes, gave great advice. Arcot, thank you so much. Gabriel, good evening. He's in the other side of the world. Wendy, I'm glad you made that call, Wendy.
Me too.
Yeah, so
It's changed my life.
Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. Angie, she's in the snow right now as well. She's up in Wisconsin. So I want to listen to a sweet story. Arcot wants to listen to a story. He wants storytelling time. So.
Oh, really? Cool. Okay, cool. I got some stories. You want to hear this Arcot? This is for you. The pitch for our trilogy. We have a dystopian sci-fi trilogy.
Yeah.
So imagine, and this was really crafted for us by the brilliant Zach Messler. Like Zach Messler, there are a few people I gotta throw love to because they have literally, I stand on the shoulders of giants. So Zach, if I'm like, Zach, I don't know what to word, he's like, I got this. He's just brilliant in the way he can take a description and make it into, like, paint it for you. It's just cool. So
Zach's a pirate.
He's a pirate. Amy Blashka we have the same birthday, although she's significantly younger than I am. And she's the third of our writing trio. And she's just this amazing, oh my gosh, everything about Amy is sunshine. Brian Schulman, like people who just have literally carry us. Sarah Elkins, like just a whole bunch of just great people. So anyway, so here's the story of the next film. Let's see if I don't botch it, right? Imagine that there's someone out there who has decided to destroy 100 million happily ever afters. Now, imagine that person was you yesterday. Today, you decide to stop what you started. And that's our film.
Interesting.
So it's the most, so Noah brought it to me in a rough draft and said, I've got this script. And then we took it apart and put flesh on the bones and gave it color and texture. I'm about character and dialogue and how that works and the emotional component of it. And he thinks, when he writes, he doesn't write. If he wrote music, it wouldn't be the melody and then the bass and then it wouldn't be any of that. Like it would be a symphony all at one time. It just kind of purges out. So it's super interesting to be working with these great Vincent Solera. Oh my gosh, this guy is just an amazing agent. We love working with him. So take the pieces and to look at it and go, oh my gosh, like this is what this is. Here are the layers. There's layers. And they're layers that Noah doesn't even necessarily see. Noah Bewley is my partner.
Yeah.
And then we put it all together. So, and this is a story about an abused young man who leaves that horrible, difficult, neglectful childhood, and he runs to a mentor who says, I know you're broken, but I'm going to rebuild you into something great. And it turns out the mentor is the megalomaniac who wants to destroy the world. And until you know what's good, you don't know what's good. So here's this young man who's indoctrinated in this idea that being powerful and killing and doing is what's good. Like every kid who leaves an abusive home and goes to the streets or goes to a gang or goes to a cult because they don't know. Unless you are blessed to experience good, you don't know what it feels like or what it looks like or how you're supposed to feel in it. And so this is the transformation of this young man as he goes from broken if to rebuild. Unfortunately, his mentor is rebuilding broken people into weapons, and it's a problem. And we do that in society. We take broken people and we allow people to rebuild them into weapons. So it's and then it's a trilogy, and it's wickedly cool, and we're very excited.
Fantastic. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed Zach, and we've met actually. We spent some time together in Vegas, and probably we'll spend more time together. And I've had him work on a couple of projects with myself, and I'm not familiar with Amy, so I'll have to.
Amy is I'm not. It literally is liquid sunshine. She is just smart and fun. She's in San Francisco. She's in Cali. And Amy Blashka she writes for Forbes.com, and we had coffee a few years ago, and I just followed her. You gotta. She's a you gotta person. She's
probably a good candidate for the pirate.
She's all pirate. Yeah.
She's all pirate.
Oh yeah, she's all pirate. She's really she's terrific. And there's Brian Schulman. I don't know if you know.
Oh yeah, I know Brian.
Brian, oh my gosh, he's just an amazing. He's like a flower, man. He just bloomed. He just is so great at making everybody feel as good as he feels. It's really amazing. So yeah, we have this great posse around.
Absolutely,
super positive.
That's why I'm here. I mean, that's the reason. I believe that everybody deserves and has the ability to shine. We all have a gift. We just have to discover what that gift is. You've been able to lean into your gifts, and it's like I'm very clear on the 3 gifts I have, and I continue to use those gifts to the best of my ability, and I'm going to share them with the world.
I'm going to work those because I look, otherwise my basket's empty. Like, what have you got to check out? Nothing. But the collecting people is, and I love the way LinkedIn has evolved.
Yeah.
I've been on LinkedIn for a long time, and it's evolved to this place where there's a kind of it's more business is not business. It's business is people who buy products and services and relationships.
Yeah.
And it's all, so for so long it was that just like, here's the widget I sell, buy it. No. And now people talk about what's a mental health balance. Like, are you really happy in your job if you're working in a big corporate entity and you're only allowed to wear white shirts? Like, is that really your personality? And maybe a lot of people, it's not. Yeah. And it's just, it destroys what they have. Yeah. It kills you when you say, I was a creative before, but my job or schooling or whatever squelched that. It's like, if you're a creative, you're a creative. Like, how do you crawl out of that?
Yeah. Well, and here's some of the things that I know are true is that if you love what you do and you can do it and people find value in it, you'll always have a place to go. You'll always have a place to be, and you'll always be able to excel and help others. And as long as you're offering value and you throw value out to the world and you share this, one of the things that I want to shift gears a little bit because I want to make sure that we capture a couple of things about Wendy and the industry in general, because I think it's important for everybody to understand. It's like there's a lot that goes into making a film or creating an idea from nothing. You have a script and you have an idea and it's a rough draft, and you have to take it miles before it sees the light of day anywhere, or a dark seat in the theater, right?
Right. Oh yeah, exactly.
And so there's a lot of things that we gloss over in society that, the sausage is made. It's like this thing has to churn through a lot of layers in order for it to go anywhere. Unless you're independent and you're just going out there with your camera and you're shooting things and it happens to do well at a film festival, and I've been through that process to a certain degree. And the thing is there's so many things that are complicated that people still move through because they have a goal, they have a mission, they have an understanding of what their life is about, their gift. And so I want to make sure that people understand, what are the things that you've seen and what has helped you when you have no answer? What is it? What is it
Wow.
you have to go through in order to accomplish the other side when you don't know what the other side is? Because there's so many.
You mean when you're sitting in a prison cell thinking, this is what mama and dad have raised me to do? Really? Is that thought?
I have a parallel story to that. It's like the most relaxing time I've ever spent in my life has been in a jail cell. And my attorney was busted for cocaine. So those two stories
Wow.
those two stories are parallel to a much smaller degree, but
Oh, well, yes. Well, we certainly have to have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
So what do you think? So here's the thing. So I love Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
I'm an avid follower of Simon, and I love Gary.
What's your why?
And so my why is really simple. It's to incite gratitude. I'm not here on this planet to inspire gratitude. That means I did something. My why is to incite gratitude, which means I tell stories that take people to a place where they think, wow, maybe that bad situation helped me, was a stepping stone to get me to where I am now. Or maybe that toxic relationship, getting out of that, taught me more about myself. Or maybe that coach who benched me in 10th grade and I wanted to be better, that projected me into the major leagues. So I want people to go to that place because I believe that gratitude is a catalyst for heroic action. Yeah. If I'm grateful to someone for doing something, if I borrow $1 from you today and I pay you back tomorrow, we're even. But when you do something extraordinary for me, I can't pay you back exactly in kind because you don't need exactly what I needed. But that doesn't mean I don't have a debt to pay. I have an obligation to repay that forward to someone else. So I have to look for opportunities to pay my debt, to repay my debt. And it's, one universe where, that kind of, so that's my scope. So that's my why.
I like the way that you phrase that. Incite gratitude.
I want to take you to a place where you think, gosh, I'm so grateful that I get this opportunity to serve my parents. I get this opportunity to or that I learned so much from this experience. That changes us.
Well, I think I think the mindset that I always had that's similar is I get to do this, not I have to do this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it flips things, even the most difficult scenarios. There are two women who were life with no chance of parole that were in prison with me that are free now because I was able to help them. One, I wrote her commutation, which President Obama granted, and another, I was able to coach her, and she was able to, an incredible circumstance. So I'm talking, they were 18 years and 32 years in prison, and they're free now, and they're my Facebook friends. I had the opportunity to affect change in that way and to, incite this gratitude. That was my goal. I couldn't work with a partner who didn't have a really strong why. So Noah's why is to change people's perspective. When you look at him, you might think of one thing, but the fact that he does the unbelievably hard work of tearing apart and going in and creating these characters and these situations that are really so vaguely familiar, but yet so puts us on the edge and we have to change in order to do it. It changes our perception. So perspective. So that is super important to me, to be aligned with people who have a really strong why. And I often ask, or I help them ferret out their why. I got a call from a gentleman in Guam who said, I understand that you know how to do this. Can you help me? I said, first, where's Guam? Because geography wasn't on my list of my 3 things. And he's like, oh, and I was like, oh, great. And we sat and he was sitting there in the car with his wife and we spoke Facebook, and we got there and he's like, oh, and then he's just gone on to great things. Getting to that little gem of why are we here? We're here to add value. We're here to be of assistance. We're here to, and in some ways we don't know. I didn't go into prison thinking that I was going to, lifers were going to come out because, I didn't know that. I'm just a vessel. What can I do in this moment that's going to live up to my why, which is to incite gratitude. Yeah. So that's.
And the other hashtag I love to use, and the concept that I love to present in life is make it matter.
It matters.
Every day is a gift, and the only way we can make a difference is if we make it matter.
Exactly. We have to make a decision. And I binged podcasted you yesterday. It was super fun. And You said use the word permission, and I love that word, permission. Sometimes we just have to give ourselves permission.
Yeah.
Oh, this matters. This is important. Being here for my kids, being here for my parents, doing this matters. Coaching someone, it matters. It changes the life. Light a candle. You just don't know how much darkness you eliminate. So that's our goal in our films and our project, our book to film. It'll go, that progression. And because the people understanding that they have the ability to look for and choose good matters.
We all have the opportunity to make a difference, make an impact in somebody's life.
Exactly.
And let's go out and incite gratitude in the world.
Let's do it.
Make sure. And kindness is cool,
Kindness is super cool. And you know what I heard? Smiles are free. I heard that somewhere.
You heard that? I don't know who would say that.
It's brilliant. Exactly. I love it. So
I know that we're gonna probably have more conversations, Wendy, because
I can't wait.
I think there's some. But Gabriel Kenyatta is here in the room. Thank you so much, Wendy.
So much for joining.
Thank you for your comments. The thing that I have to be completely transparent this week, because one of the things that I was frustrated with is I was looking at data, and I don't really follow numbers because I'm on a mission to, help a lot of people, and my goal is to help a lot of people. And what I discovered is LinkedIn, I'm actually being penalized for creating content too frequently, like this.
Really?
Yeah. And so at least that's.
Are you in LinkedIn prison?
No, I'm not linked. I'm just like on double secret probation.
Oh, cool. Even better.
But it's one of those things. It's like, okay, I don't necessarily know that it's going to impact my life. However, it was just kind of disappointing thinking, okay, well, the trend in my posting more frequently and sharing people like you, Wendy, is the fact that because I post so frequently, I have the same profile as somebody that's spamming everyone. Oh. So by my promoting you on my show and promoting the show and promoting, creating a live stream every single day, my numbers are going down because of the frequency of my post. So it's like, okay, well, that seems a little strange.
That sounds to me that there's some platform out there that's going to be much, much larger than LinkedIn, apparently, that's going to scoop you up and be like, oh, this is a good catch, because it's about the more conversations we have. Mm-hmm. The truth is, there are some podcasts I listen to of yours, and I watched and I was like, that really hit me. And some of them like, okay, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. But the ones that hit me hard. Yeah. Like, okay, that was a truth bomb that I'd never heard that way, and I needed to hear it. I needed at that moment to hear that. I was in the mindset to hear it that way.
Yeah.
So what a great thing is it? We do buckshot when we post, and I post and I just talk, and my kids are like, you overshare, and I'm like, yeah. But we talk and we share, and it just has to hit the heart of one person that makes a difference.
You don't know. Impact one person.
That's it.
To make it matter, right?
Exactly. To make it matter. And what ripples out of that is not our business.
Yeah.
We don't have the control of that.
Yeah.
So if LinkedIn wants to punish you, there's another platform that's going to scoop in, that's going to
the parallel I see with you, Wendy, and the reason I bring it up is because it's like the idea, you plant the seed, you don't know how big the tree will grow. Right. You have an opportunity to go out there and plant some seeds, get some people to help you water it, write the script, write the thing, get some people involved in the project, get some enthusiasm going, and the more people that are involved, the bigger the thing can grow.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
We can't do it alone.
We can't. There's a great I don't want to keep you too long. A guy gave a speech. I love this. And he held up an apple and he said, how many orchards are in this apple? And the audience is like, no. How many apples were in the orchard? He's like, no, there's 5 seeds in this apple. That's 5 trees. How many orchards are in this particular apple? You don't, and this apple could go anywhere.
Yeah.
we don't know where those seeds go. 5 seeds builds an orchard. 1 seed can make an orchard. And eventually there's persistence. We have to be tenacious. We have to be so convinced that our idea is worthy of being shown to the world. And we absolutely have to just love what we do, so that the late nights, the no sleep, the stuff that's
I
just
get to do it. I don't
that
have to
we
do it.
get to do it. We get to do this. So it's not about the Oscars. Those would be lovely, and I'm not discounting any of that.
That's
It's about the impact.
That's a symptom to the opportunity we get to have.
Exactly. And then the idea to how does it make money? Yeah, it does make money. There are ways to do it. So long, but it's a long process. This has been joyous. It's just a wonderful way to spend a morning, Russ. So I thank you.
Well, this has been fabulous.
So much for having me.
And thank
allowing
you
me
so
to do
much for
this.
being here.
The honor's all mine. Have a great, fun day.
Yeah. And as you know, thank you, Wendy. All the gratitude in the world. I love that you're here, and keep sharing your gifts and planting seeds. And there will be orchards of Wendy all over, and with abundance and insight, gratitude whenever possible. So,
thank you so much. Have a great day, and remember this: not only are smiles free, they're priceless.
Yes, and kindness is cool. And you enjoy the day.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.